You know what's wild? Every search you do on Google still works like it's 1998. You type words, Google finds pages with those words, ranks them by links. Done. But here's the problem: AI doesn't think in words. AI thinks in patterns, relationships, weights, and numbers. So what happens when you try to search for AI news using a search engine designed for how humans used to browse the web? You miss stuff. Big stuff. In the Weights just launched as a completely different kind of search tool, and it's specifically built for how AI actually thinks. Instead of keyword matching, it understands semantic relationships. It reads context. It knows which AI research papers are groundbreaking versus incremental. It spots trends that Google's algorithm would never catch because Google's still looking for words, not meaning. Users are already reporting that in the Weights find stories Google's algorithm completely overlooks. It's AI-native search, built by people who understand that finding information about AI requires thinking like AI. And here's the kicker: it literally uses the weights of AI models to understand what matters. The name isn't clever marketing, it's literally how the engine works. This fundamentally changes what search means in an AI-first world. And here's where it gets interesting. Google revolutionized the internet in the late 1990s by solving one specific problem: how do you find pages that match your keywords? It was brilliant. You type digital camera, Google finds pages with those words, ranks them by how many other pages link to them. Simple, elegant, it worked. For 25 years, Google's been the answer to almost every question. But here's what shifted. The internet used to be about finding pages. Now it's about finding understanding. And AI changes everything about how understanding works. When you're looking for information about AI in June of 2026, Google still ranks based on old logic. It looks for pages with high authority and matching keywords. But what you actually need is to understand which developments matter, which are noise, which connect to other trends. Google doesn't do that. It can't, because Google doesn't think semantically. It thinks statistically. Meanwhile, AI companies have been building their own tools. Perplexity tried to add reasoning. Others added real-time data. But nobody really asked, what if we built search specifically for AI researchers, not the general public? What if we used AI's own architecture to understand AI news? That's the gap in the Weights is filling. It's the first search engine designed from the ground up to think like modern AI systems actually think. And that's the fundamental change. But here's what most coverage gets wrong. Okay, so how does in the Weights actually work? Here's the technical bit, but I'll keep it simple. Every AI model, whether it's language model, image generator, whatever, is fundamentally just numbers. Millions or billions of numbers organized in specific patterns. Those numbers are called weights, and they are the actual intelligence. When you ask ChatGPT a question, it's running your words through these weights, layer by layer, and that's how it arrives at an answer. So the In the Weights team had a radical idea. What if instead of treating AI news like regular web pages, we analyzed it using the same weight-based logic that AI uses? They built their search engine to understand text using neural embeddings, essentially converting words and concepts into patterns that AI models can work with natively. Imagine trying to find a restaurant using maps, but only searching for the word food. You'd miss amazing hidden gems. Now imagine a system that understands not just the words, but the concept of what makes food unique. That's the difference. In the Weights converts every article, every paper, every AI announcement into a weight-based representation. Then it finds other content with similar weights, similar concepts, similar significance, similar connections to the broader AI landscape. It's not looking for keyword matches. It's looking for semantic patterns that matter to how AI researchers and developers actually think. This is fundamentally different from anything before. But here's what the headlines aren't telling you. So what does this actually look like in practice? Let's say you're searching for breakthroughs in efficient AI. Google gives you news about quantization, a trendy optimization technique, and some press releases from chip companies. In the Weights, it connects that to research from MIT from 3 weeks ago that Google never surfaced, links it to a GitHub project from 2 days ago that's getting serious traction, and pulls in a TechCrunch article that nobody noticed that connects all 3 dots. Suddenly, you've got the real story, a fundamental change in how the industry's building smaller, faster models. That's not keyword matching, that's understanding. Another example: search for transformer safety. Google gives you academic papers and open AI blog posts. In the weights finds the emerging pattern where transformer model safety is connecting to new regulatory conversations, hardware design choices, and real-world deployment decisions. It's showing you the relationships that matter. Users are reporting they're discovering research 3 months before it becomes mainstream hype. They are seeing trends before the money flows into those startups. They're getting the real picture instead of what the algorithm decides is popular. One researcher told us in the weights found a pattern connecting 5 different AI safety papers across 3 months that nobody realized were part of the same conceptual breakthrough. Google would have shown them as 5 isolated results. The search engine itself understood the semantic relationships. This is just the beginning. And this is where it gets complicated. So how does this actually stack up against what's already out there? Google is still king for general web search, finding news articles, whether local results, but for AI-specific information, it's not designed for it. Perplexity tried to add reasoning on top of Google's search, which helps, but it's still built on the same fundamental keyword matching underneath. It's like putting a more intelligent person in front of a broken microscope. They can think better, but the tool is still limited. Microsoft Bing tried to compete, but gave up. DuckDuckGo prioritizes privacy, but uses similar underlying search logic. None of them are built from the ground up to think about semantic patterns the way AI thinks. That's where in the weights is different. It's not Google with better reasoning. It's not a wrapper on top of existing search. It's a completely different approach using neural embeddings as the fundamental unit, the way modern AI does. Think of it this way: Google is trying to understand language the way traditional computers do, find the words, match the patterns, return the results. In the weights understands language the way neural networks do, understand the semantic space, find similar positions in that space, return what's conceptually related. One researcher benchmark found in the weights finds relevant AI papers that Google completely misses at a 70% higher success rate. Not just different results, genuinely more useful results. The trade-off. Okay, so why does this actually matter beyond just finding AI papers faster? Because this is about who controls the narrative around AI development. For 25 years, Google's algorithm has shaped what we all learned, what bubbled up, what stayed buried, what went viral. Google wasn't conscious about it, but the algorithm had opinions. Some stories were too niche, not enough links, ranked too low to see. Within the weights, different stories emerge. Research that matters to specialists gets found. Patterns that Google never connected become visible. That's not automatically better or worse, it's just different. But here's the privacy angle. In the weights is built on something Google fundamentally avoids: understanding what you're actually looking for semantically. Google's privacy is based on keyword obfuscation. In the weights understands intent differently. They claim to be privacy first, but the technology itself is more revealing. You're telling it not just what words you're searching for, but what concepts you're interested in. The safety implications are worth thinking about. If this becomes the primary way AI researchers and developers find information, it shapes what gets built next. The papers nobody can find on Google might be exactly what the industry needs, or they might be niche ideas that stay niche for good reasons. There's also the question of bias. Google's bias is statistical. It favors whatever was linked most. In the weights, bias is conceptual. It favors whatever's most similar to other patterns. Different bias, still bias. And this is what nobody predicted. So how do you actually use this thing? The interface is straightforward. It's live right now at intheweights.com. Search interface looks normal, similar to Google. You type your query. But here's the difference. It understands what you're really asking. Search for language model efficiency, and it doesn't just find articles with those words. It finds research about efficient transformers, papers on quantization, discussion about distillation techniques, chip announcements that support efficient inference, all the related concepts, all the semantic connections. The results load faster than you'd expect. It's running locally optimized searches, not crawling the whole internet. The filtering is powerful. You can narrow by date, by source credibility, by relevance strength. You can see why it ranked something highly. It'll show you the semantic connections. That transparency is huge for researchers. You can actually understand the ranking logic instead of Google's mysterious algorithm. There's also an API for developers and research teams. You can integrate in the weights into your workflow, get structured data back, build applications on top of it. The free tier gets you up to 500 searches per month, plenty for individual researchers. Paid tiers unlock more. The team says they're not going the ad-heavy route Google did. This is deliberately specialized search for a specialized audience. It's not trying to replace Google. It's trying to replace academic literature searches and specialized news aggregation. Download the extension if you use Chrome. It integrates into your browser. That's all you need. But wait, there's something nobody's talking about. So here's what this actually means. If you follow AI at all, whether you're a developer, researcher, investor, or just curious, your discovery process is about to change. In the Weights isn't replacing Google tomorrow, but it's carving out a space where AI-specific information flows differently. You'll find things nobody's talking about yet. You'll see patterns form before they are obvious. That's powerful. Watch for two things coming next. First, how Google responds. They'll either try to integrate similar semantic search into their own algorithm, or they'll dismiss in the Weights as a niche tool. Second, whether other specialized search engines follow this model. If in the Weights works for AI, why not for biotech? Why not for climate research? Why not for 100 other specialized fields where generic search is failing? The bigger story isn't in the Weights specifically. It's that the era of one search engine ruling everything might actually be ending. We've had 25 years of Google. Maybe we're about to get a decade of specialized intelligent search. That fundamentally changes how information moves through society. For now, try in the Weights. See what it finds that Google misses. Subscribe to the channel. We are tracking how this evolves. Follow for daily AI news, and you'll be first to know what in the Weights uncovers next.